Oh, that's nice. That is nice. Ooh, there's a game today. Jazz and Nuggets. Winner go home. Winner go home. JB. Just start out this episode. The first thing I saw on my Facebook was JB misses the bigger, better breakfast from dorms, dude. That's it. That's what life's about, man. The bigger, better breakfast. Now, if you've never had it, it's probably because you've never been invited to a party. You've never been so drunk that the only thing you want to eat is Norm's breakfast. Because if you're going to Norm's breakfast when you're sober, you're disgusting. I'm just kidding, man. If you're going to Norm's because you're sober, you might be broke. I don't know, man. Go to Denny's or something. Denny's might be a little better. I don't know. There's probably a lot of people hating on it right now. That's fine. But welcome to the Everyday Guy Podcast. I'm your host, Rudy Marquez. And guess what? I'm COVID-19 positive. Meaning I have COVID. I have coronavirus. I have the novel coronavirus. I have whatever Donald Trump has called it. The China virus. The Kung flu. That's what I've heard. It's very, you just can't say shit like that anymore, man. And he just doesn't care. He's the president of the free world. And I guess he just doesn't care. Pelosi used shuttered San Francisco hair salon for blowout. Owner calls it a slap in the face. Oh my goodness. Fox News just released that Nancy Pelosi used a hair salon for a blowout. And that's really crappy. Because they're shutting down like salons and all that stuff. Or they've been shut down. Barbershops too. I haven't got a haircut. Like I look like I have a mullet going back here. I refuse to get a haircut outside. It's disgusting. And it's hot. And I don't want the hair sticking to my neck. You can get splinters from hair, man. Don't be fooled by the media. The media wants you to believe you can't get splinters from hair. Do not believe them. Please do not believe them. Anyways, you guys are here. I'm here today to tell you I have corona. And it's okay. It's okay. I have coronavirus. And I'm doing all right. I have a really bad lingering headache. That's probably been the only consistent thing I've seen. Matt Duda got married? Wow. Got engaged? That's amazing, dude. That is amazing. Anyways, I need to stop looking at Facebook. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, dude, I have coronavirus, and the crappiest thing that I'm dealing with now is, well, one, you guys know I have depression, anxiety, and then on the spectrum for bipolar disorder. So I'm super nervous about my mental health in this state because I'm gonna be locked in for 14 days. Super nervous about that, man. The other thing that's pretty heavy on the heart these days is I won't see my daughters, physically hold them and see them and feel their hair and smell their scent for 14 days. The last time I went without just seeing one of my daughters was in the hospital for a couple weeks, and I didn't see my 4-year-old, my youngest daughter, Gabs, for about a week and a half. And I remember when I did see her, I completely folded up and cried like a little baby at the daycare where she was. And she cried in my arms. We cried together. And it was just like a real majestic moment for me and her. I don't know what I'm going to do for the next 2 weeks. Because, one, I'm sober, too. So I don't get high anymore. And I was getting high every day, every hour. And I don't know I don't know how to be, unless I'm getting high. And I was struggling to figure that out before COVID. Now that I have COVID, it's like even worse. So I got, the weight of not being around my girls. It's gonna take a toll on me. I got the fact that I'm sober. I have to be able to find new and healthy alternatives to getting through the day, getting through these 14 days. And another thing too is like, I was around my parents, so I stay at my parents' house most of the time, and my dad's in his mid-70s and my mom's in her early 70s. And my mom has a couple pre-existing conditions. My dad, not so much. He's a pretty healthy old dude. And, he's like one of those typical thick-neck Mexican dudes, man. He's got that thick neck, and he's just he doesn't look anything like that. But he's just an old Mexican dude, man, that's strong as can be, man. But anyways, so my mom, she's got like some underlying conditions, and it's scary, dude. I was around them. I was physically around them, and that scares the crap out of me. My daughters went and got tested this morning, and my ex-wife as well. They went and got tested, so we're awaiting those results. My sister needs to go get tested. I was around her. And then my parents, man, that's my biggest concern, is my parents. I don't know. I don't even want to think about if they were to have it or not. And it's not like I was careless out in the streets partying it up. Nothing like that. I have an idea of where we got it from. And I don't care to discuss it on the podcast, but it's a real shitty time. And I got to take into consideration that I got some mental health issues. So usually in times of despair, times of hardships for me, I fall into some real dark patterns of like self-abuse and self-harm. For me, I like to physically strangle myself, dude. Yeah, if I'm being honest, I would strangle myself for the feeling of euphoria when you pass out and then you come to. A lot of people don't talk about that. If you've ever been choked out, there's a euphoric moment that happens when you come back. It's like all the blood rushes to your head, your serotonin levels go back up, everything just comes back. It's like turning off the lights in the house or in a warehouse. If any of you guys have been in a warehouse, it takes a while for lights to turn back on, like big industrial lights. It takes a minute. So it's kind of like that moment you turn the lights off in a big warehouse and the lights are slowly coming on. Or if you guys have been in sports, like turning on the big spotlights, turning on the lights in a basketball court, dude, it's the same thing. Like, it takes a minute. That's what happens with your brain, is like everything flushes back and it takes a minute for everything to come back to place. And when it does, like as it's doing all its work, you feel like a sense of like, what, like you're high, dude. And for me, that feeling would take a lot of the pain away, and two, it would get me closer to being suicidal, dying. And I never spoke about this. Like, I did it for years, man. Years. And I never told anyone. I was married and my ex-wife never knew for 8 years. Friends never knew. Family, no one. I kept it from everyone. And how do you talk to people? Like, hey, dude, hey, what's up, man? Oh, you know what I did right now? I just tried to strangle myself in the bathroom because I was feeling bad about who I am as a father. What the heck are your friends gonna say? What is your family gonna say? They're gonna want to check you into a hospital, dude, and I'm not trying to go to a hospital. So you end up getting, you end up sheltering yourself, and it becomes very difficult to break out of that habit. But once you do, actually, breaking out of the habit is probably the hardest thing you're going to face. If you're in the habit of self-harm or self-infliction, sometimes it's not. People believe self-harm always is just cutting. There's a lot of cutters out there. There really are. There's cutters on the wrist, on the thighs. It's very prominent. They do it on places where you really won't see it physically. It's not, you can't see it right away. So they'll do it on the thighs or somewhere they can cover up with a shirt or a blouse. And it's very, very... Once you start doing it, you end up starting to build like a guilt for doing it. So now you're dealing with like, okay, this issue at hand. For me, maybe it was, there were so many issues, but for one of them was like my thoughts of who I am as a father and how I can be a better father. So I would get so down on myself, feeling like I'm a worthless father, that I'd harm myself, right? So once I harmed myself, afterwards, I'd feel so guilty for falling into that pattern. I wouldn't want to discuss it with anyone else because I'm so ashamed of it. I'm just downright embarrassed by it. So now you build a second guilt. And that second guilt's the real tough one that holds you down. Because you're always going to have those... You're going to find a way to deal with those thoughts of like, am I a worthless father? I've found ways to deal with that through therapy and through medication. And now that I'm dealing with that thought, there's still that second factor, that second guilt, that second shame of like, yeah, you went there, dude. You'll never be able to leave that. I can't run from that. And so many years I tried to run from it. Like, that wasn't me. That was a mistake. I'll never do that again. The truth of the matter is, dude, it's in me. I got that disease, bro. And I can't run from it. I can't keep hiding from it. So what I've decided to do is face it head on. Talk about it. One of the biggest fears is people finding out about it. So I put it out there. Now I can't run from it. I'll always be held accountable. Because everyone knows. And I don't care. I don't care that everyone knows. Because me putting it out there is kind of like my own accountability. It's out there. I can't run and hide now. People know. People are going to care about you. And for me, one of the biggest things I have to come to realization is, it's like I have no ability of like reaching out for help. And even when people did reach out for help, like I would reject it. I'd hit their hand away. I wouldn't accept it. Now it's like I got to know the people around me that actually love me. The ones that do well, the ones that when I told them I have COVID, they told me how sorry they are and what they can do to help. Then there were other people in my camp, my tribe, my huge world of people nowadays that were like all pissed off about it or focused on themselves and started worried about, well, how could you have done this? Why couldn't you have been more like careful? It's like, that's your first thought. Who you here for, dude? You just, you're out for yourself. And that's sad, dude. That's sad, but you know what? It'll give me a thought. It'll always give me, a thought of that person. Like, hey, be careful even if that person does reach out for help or to help you. Be careful. Because that person might not always be doing it with the right intentions. Some people might reach out to help you, to hurt you. Those people are beyond horrible. Those people have some real self-esteem issues that they need to face head on, and that's not my problem. That's not my concern. But you're gonna find in your camp, your world, that not everyone is there to help. Some people are there to harm, hold you down a little bit, don't want to see you rise up. And that's okay. Those people are always going to be around. So don't focus yourself on this is what I tell myself. Don't focus yourself on the 1% that's bad. And that's what this world will do to you, dude. This world will make you focus on the 1%. And that means what? 99% of the people out there are good? You know, in my camp? Yeah, I can say that. There's that 1%. I'm not going to focus on it, nor am I going to make rules for that 1%. If I did, I wouldn't live my life freely. I'd let that 1% control the other 99%, if that makes sense. And I don't want to live like that. I don't want to live like that. Too much of our world is built around what we do against the 1%. The 1% that's out there protesting, or actually, we gotta stop grouping these protesters and these rioters, because I believe there's a difference. There has to be. Civil unrest takes very angry and fed up people. And if you're out there protesting for social justice, let me put it to you this way. When I was in Whittier and I saw the protests, during the day, you had a lot of what looked like educated people walking the streets. And why they looked educated to me is I'm basing it off of, one, their personal appearance. They seemed well put together, and that's not the only thing, but the way they spoke. They didn't use curse words. They didn't use derogatory language. They spoke of this uprising, horrible police brutality, and how, some of that stuff has been deeply seeded into our authority figures, like the police. So I saw, they were well spoken. They left like at 5. And I started looking around as like nightfall started coming, and you start seeing the people, like, the streetwalkers, man. The dudes out late at night. Then you got the younger kids, 16, 17, 18-year-olds, just angry. They might not know what they're angry about. You've only been in this world for 16 years. You don't know about life. Don't be out there telling people, you need to change. You're 16, you don't know anything. Shut up. Let the generation ahead of you take this head on. Learn something first. Go to school. Let life kick you around a little bit. But you're 16 and you're out there, smashing dudes up, trying to be a part of the crew. Get the hell out of here, man. I was 16 and I could tell you I was an idiot. I wanted to be a gang member. I wanted to start my own gang. I wanted stupid things when I was 16. I was no martyr. I was no person for social justice. I had no idea what social justice meant at 16. Your frontal lobe isn't fully formed until the age 25. Are you really out there knowing what the hell you're doing before the age of 25? Probably not. You're just angry. But at what? Are you angry at something that actually affects you and your community? I don't know, maybe. But like I was saying, we got to separate the idea of protesters and rioters. We can't just call them all protesters. We can't call them all rioters, because that's not the case. You go out to these protests from like 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., you got actual good people out there protesting and demanding social justice. After 5 p.m., you got the knuckleheads out there, the dummies out there, the dudes that have nowhere to go, the dudes that are coming from broken homes, that are out on the streets as it is. Now they're just joining the group. Heck, man, if you're growing up in a 1-bedroom, government assisted home, and it's you, 3 of your siblings, and your mom in a 1-bedroom, and you're always out in the streets and you're kicking it with your boys, you're kicking it with your friends, and all of this is going on, and you start seeing opportunities to steal things, to get things you didn't even have the ability to get to, you're probably going to take it. You're probably going to take it. I'm not saying that is an excuse. What I am saying, it is a reality for some of these men and women. Again, not an excuse. But it's a freaking reality, man. And we can't gloss over that stuff. There's true issues in the black, the brown, the white, the Asian community. There's true issues. There's a severe divide. I can speak from the brown community. I can't speak for my white brothers, my black brothers, my Asian brothers. I can't speak for them. I don't know what's going on in their community. I can only see from the outside. And even then, seeing from the outside is manipulated by media. So I can't even fully understand what's going on in their community. So for my community, I can see that there is a divide between Mexicans that come straight over the border and then Mexicans that have been here third, fourth generation. I'm like the third generation, I think. My dad was born here. My grandma was born here. My grandpa wasn't, though. So I don't know where that leaves me, but I don't really care. And because it feeds into the divide. So what's the difference between me and a dude that's coming straight over the border trying to be a better person for his life? And trust me, there are dudes coming over the border that aren't. They're coming over here because they're escaping some type of terrible thing they might have done back then. Then there's a lot of people trying to get away from the turmoil that's happening in Mexico. I'm no different from them. But yet, in the brown community, that's where you hear the word paisa. Oh, that dude's a paisa. Or that person's real Mexican. What the hell is real Mexican? I never understood that. What's real Mexican? Oh yeah, they're real Mexican. What does that mean? They speak Spanish every day? Though mom and dad don't speak English? They have a serape in their car? I don't know what that means. What's real Mexican? Again, that's a divide. That's a divide within my own community. Again, I can't speak to what's going on in the black community, the white community, the Asian community, because I'm not a part of that community. But that does not mean I don't care or I'm less intrigued. I am so intrigued by a few of those communities. I could point out the things I'm intrigued by. By the black community, I'm intrigued by their strength. Their strength and perseverance, man. Their ability to see that this world is not for them to some degree, but yet they still push forward. That's true strength and perseverance. When I look at the Asian community, I look at how disciplined and just like robotically focused, it's almost like they have something that humans don't have. The Asian community can be so focused and disciplined that they have so much tradition in their heart that they carry from their mom or their grandmother to their mother to their children. That is amazing to me. I want to be able to take something from the Asian community, from the black community, and from our white community. Here's the thing about the white community. What is it? Is it Italians? Is it Irish? Is it a mix of Italians and Irish? Is it a mix of Europeans? I don't know. So I'm going to do something I shouldn't probably do, is group. So I'm grouping white as anybody who's not Hispanic, black, or Asian. Okay? And in that community, I look at the true... I'm thinking in terms of finances, their ability to forecast, their ability to build something that's bigger than the world around them. Meaning, when Italians came here, they didn't have a lot of options. They were treated as they were immigrants. Italians and Irish, they came here and they busted their hump. Irish and Italians, they created our whole docks. Every dock you go to, You go to Long Beach, you go to San Pedro, you go to New York docks over there. That's where it all culminated from. Those people. That's beautiful. They were able to see something bigger than the world. And their ability to create all that funneled through the entire country. And we became just an entire melting pot. Now, I'm not saying that each culture, each community is immediately given, a pass for any bad that they've done. Not at all. But for me, in my brown community, I'd like to take the greatest of each of those communities. The black, the brown, the black, the white, and the Asian community. I'd like to take one thing here and there and repurpose it in my life. I had a good talk with my sister. My sister can be quite liberal, and I respect her. I love my sister. I have nothing but love and admiration for my sister, and she can be quite liberal. And we were talking, and I was trying to convey that I've kind of given up on the idea that you can change the world, but you can, like a world in the whole. When people say you can be the person that changes this world, I've kind of given up on that idea. The idea I've come up with now is changing my own world. And for me, my own world consists of everyone around me, my family, my friends, everyone I love, people I work with, people that are in constant contact with me. If I can be a better person and be a better father, be a better son, be more caring, show some kinship, that's going to change my small little world, right? So if I'm able to develop kinship within my two little daughters, and they go on, they live beautiful lives, and they carry kinship with them, that in turn will change their little worlds. And it just keeps going forward. So although I'm focusing on my tiny little world of people, which is myself, I can affect everything and everyone around me. It might not be in the abundance of fixing the world as a whole. I don't think that's attainable. I think we were lied to as kids. I think when they told us, you can change the world, I think they lied to us. And that's okay. They might not have known. They were probably told the same thing. But they didn't have the time or the resources or the mental capacity at some point to develop these issues or develop these counter arguments to that statement, you can change the world. I struggle also with you can be anything in this world. It's almost like you're granting your kids, you can be anything in this world. What does that mean? Are you telling them that there aren't going to be any obstacles? Well, I don't understand what that means. Like, you can be anything in this world, but you kind of can't. You know what I mean? There's going to be obstacles. There's going to be people. There's going to be negative factors in your life that will deter your route. So as a parent, if you're telling your children you can be anything in the world, at some point you're going to have to go back to that statement and let them know, hey, look, there's obstacles to becoming anything you want in this world. And don't, I'm not saying to discourage them and tell them, well, it's all negative. No, don't come at your kids with all negative, man. Come at with some solution. Come at them with some positivity. Try to let them know that when they do face these obstacles, show them the resources. Show them how to cope with it. Because obstacles are going to be a part of your everyday life. Whether you're a doctor trying to come up with the coronavirus, or the scientists trying to come up with, what's going to cure the coronavirus or help combat the coronavirus. That person is facing obstacles. You're a firefighter working in your local community. You're going to face obstacles. On top of that, if you're a different gender, you're a different race, if you're, an immigrant, your language is different, you're going to face obstacles. But one thing you really have to instill in your children is to not give up and find ways to cope. Find ways to work around these obstacles. Work through them. Don't run. Don't get reliant on substances. Teach them about where substances come from. And it's not, only focusing on those level 1 narcotics like cocaine and methamphetamines. Alcohol is one of the biggest substances in this world that is so socially acceptable, people forget to really talk about it with their kids. Alcoholism is real, man. Alcohol dependency is real. And it develops at a very young age. And if you're not talking to your kids about it, they'll end up figuring it out like I did, man. I just ended up figuring out like, oh man, I could get drunk and my problems are going to go away for a few hours. And I'm going to laugh and have fun and make a fool of myself or get into a fight or do something crazy with my friends. And they're all doing it too. Heck yeah, dude, I'm going to do that. And then the cycle begins. So, the only way I believe you can really change the world is start with changing who you are and your world, the people around you, your camp. That's just my 2 cents. I'm beat. This headache is unreal. But I will talk to you guys again on the next episode. I'm going to be recording probably a lot because I really have nothing else to do. So, yeah, you guys are probably going to hear a lot from me. But, yeah, make sure you tune into the next one. Thank you. Peace.